Tell you what, why don't you dive headfirst into your working folders and come back out with rotation.ai. Let's see if we can have some fun with rotation. Rotation is kind of cut and dry. I mean, you rotate something, okay? But there are a couple of things that we can play around with to make it a bit more interesting as well as valuable. And I want to introduce something else that you may already be seeing, and that's smart guides. For example, if I come up and pick up this guy right here, and I'm using the regular old selection tool up here, I can fly him across the screen. Let's go backwards. I can go to a corner, you know this. I can make him bigger or smaller and hold the shift key down. I can do all that. I can go to another corner and rotate him. Let me undo all that stuff. But I'm guessing, aren't I? I'm saying, and it looks like about a 20-degree angle. Okay, that's pretty close. Or I think it's twice as big or 400 pixels wide, and that looks about what I want. If you go up to the word View on the pull-down menu and go down to Smart Guides, this changes everything on how we work. Now, the reason, and they are default, that I didn't use them yet is I just didn't want to throw everything at us all at once. Okay, we're bringing things in. I use the shortcut because sometimes they just plain, to be honest with you, get in the way for me. And I want to turn them on and turn them off. So don't forget, it's Control or Command on a Mac, Control in Windows, U to turn them on and off. But if I come up and I select this guy again, notice it's telling me, number one, where the anchor points are, the X and Y positions of the anchor points. If I go to a corner, since we're talking about rotation, watch what happens when I rotate. It gives me the degree of rotation. I love that feature, okay? If I move the guy, it's telling me where I'm moving him. You've got all these other lines coming in and out too. It tells you where you intersect, when you're lining up with something else. And I'm going to undo. Let me take him back to about here. So rotation with the smart guides, I do like those, gives me the ability to see exactly what I am rotating it to. That's nice. I like that. Now, if we come over here, we do have a rotate tool. It's with the reflect tool. So I click rotate. Now, just like with resizing in the previous lesson, it's kind of like a two-click thing. You click one place where you want the rotation to be performed from, and then you click and drag to do the rotation. So if I come, I'll say out here, doesn't have to be on the object, and click once. Then, well, get anywhere you want and move, and you can rotate it. Now, here is something else you might want to do. Not here, probably, but if while you're rotating it, you hold down the Alt key, that's the Option key on a Mac and Alt key in Windows, it actually would make a copy for you at that rotational value and leave the original alone. We're going to use that and another feature called Duplicate Last Action to do things like flowers, ceiling fans, all kinds of fun things. Let's go ahead and undo that. So one object is easy to rotate, and I don't think anybody's being, like, wow, Andy, that's really cool. Gee, I didn't know you could do that. But what about the ones on the bottom, the Jennies? There's 4 of them. So if I pick up my regular selection tool and pick them all up, I don't think anybody is surprised if I go to a corner that I can rotate them by default on center. Okay, just taking all 4 and rotating them. Let me undo that. If I go to my rotation tool, now don't forget you have to have it selected, and we do, I can then choose where to rotate it from, say here, and maybe do something like that. It's still, I don't know, kind of predictable, isn't it? Let me undo that. Let me show you one more thing here. If I decide I want to rotate it, instead of doing it any of the ways that we have done, go up to the word Object on the pull-down menu, go down to Transform, and select Transform Each. Let me go ahead and turn the preview on, and we're just working with Rotate now. All right, they're all climbing in the sky, or they're all falling to the ground. Transform Each. That's a neat feature. Let me just go ahead and get out of there. Now, another place you can do rotation if you have things selected is coming up here to Transform. You can rotate it right there if you want to. There's that Scale, Strokes, and Effects again if you want to use that. And then you have an option here too, Align to Pixel Grid. And remember, if this is going out to the web, that's an important thing to do. All the different ways you can rotate objects in Adobe Illustrator. There are actually about a dozen ways, I'm sure. But the end result is, and the good news is because they are vector images. When you change their size or rotate them, the math redraws the shape and it will always be perfect. That's what I like.